I'd been trying to distract myself lately, throwing myself into work and anything else to avoid being home alone. But on this particular evening, the isolation seemed suffocating. It was late, too late for anyone to still be awake. But I decided to take a walk to clear my head. The streets were eerily quiet, the faint hum of a distant street light the only sound accompanying my footsteps. I took a familiar route through my neighborhood, past the small park I'd walked through hundreds of times before. The playground, usually bustling with children during the day, was now a ghostly silhouette under the dim glow of the moon. The swings creaked softly in the wind, moving as if someone had just been there. I tried not to let my imagination run wild, but there was an uneasiness in the air. As I rounded the corner toward a narrow alley that cut through to my street, I noticed a figure standing at the far end. They weren't moving, just standing there, half in shadow, half in the flickering light of a street lamp. I slowed my pace, unsure whether to continue or turn back. The figure shifted slightly, almost imperceptibly, and something about the movement made my stomach tighten. It wasn't threatening, but it wasn't normal either. Against my better judgment, I continued forward, keeping my eyes on the figure as I walked. With each step, the air seemed heavier, as though the space around me was closing in. When I was about halfway through the alley, the figure took a step forward. My heart leapt into my throat. It was closer now, just enough for me to make out some details. A man, tall and thin, wearing a long coat that seemed to ripple unnaturally in the faint light. His head tilted to the side as though he was observing me. I froze. "Can I help you?" I asked, my voice breaking the silence like a crack in glass. He didn't respond. Instead, he raised an arm, pointing toward me. My pulse quickened as I took a step back, but I couldn't seem to tear my eyes away from him. Then, in a motion so sudden it made me gasp, he sprinted toward me. I stumbled backward, my legs barely responding as panic surged through me. But when I blinked, just for a fraction of a second, he was gone. The alley was empty. My breathing was ragged as I turned and ran, not daring to look back. The once familiar streets felt alien now, every shadow a potential threat. I didn't stop running until I reached my door, fumbling with my keys and practically falling inside. I locked the door behind me, leaning against it as I tried to catch my breath. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak of the house, every rustle of the wind outside, felt like it was him, waiting. I told myself it was just my imagination, a trick of the light. But when I woke up the next morning, I found a single handprint on the outside of my window. It was too high for anyone to reach without a ladder. And I don't own one.